Okay, everybody. Live we got AJ Derks and Kim Derks, and recently crowned world's strongest woman. It gets no bigger than that. That's the top of the food chain. You guys, right now, I know it looks like, if you guys have seen the show, I'm talking to you, looking at the monitor, so if it looks like I'm not looking at you, I actually am. So thanks for coming on here. I'm sorry about the delay. I had the world's strongest woman waiting here. The system was updating, but much appreciated, guys. Thanks for stepping in for a minute here. We'll do a little bit of a background. AJ, you had shot us. You come from a family of strength. And so when did you start lifting? And maybe we'll get into a little bit of your background, and then we'll get a little bit from yourself as well, Kim.
I started lifting when I was 13.
And when you started, your older brothers were already established strongmen?
Yeah, they all did powerlifting as well. And then when they stopped powerlifting, then they went to strongman. And then when I was old enough, when I got into high school, that's when they started getting me into powerlifting.
Yeah.
But they were already pros at the time. And
as a high school student, so you started at 13, but really quickly you rose to the top. You're saying you were actually a USAPL state champion in high school.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Senior year, I won. My freshman year, I qualified for state my freshman year. I think I took like 9th or something like that.
Yeah.
In the state. So. And then
at 14 years old, so your older brother, how much older is he than you?
5 years older.
5 years older?
Yeah, a little bit. 6, 7 years older.
You heard his feelings right now. He's like, what? I don't know how old I am. It's funny, you look to your wife for, how old's my brother?
Yeah, about 6 years.
But you were, so you were telling me ahead of time, you were 14 years old, and this is around 2007-ish, and your brother was already a professional strongman, I believe, and no less than Brian Shaw was coming over and training with you guys. Is that right?
Yeah. So it's kind of so my brother is married to into the Bergman family, okay. And so there's the 3 brothers in the Bergman family. You got Luke, Jason, and Paul. Yeah. Who are all pros as well. Yeah. And that was at the time, 2007, when Jason got his first invite to World's Strongest Man. Yeah. And that was when Brian Shaw was just coming up into Worlds. So Brian would come out by us and train with Jason. Yeah. So that's when I got to meet Brian for the first time, and I trained with them, but I was more of the moving the plates around.
Well, when you're like 14 years old, I mean, that's crazy. Now, Brian at the time, 2007, I'm just trying to get my timeline right. That was before he had won a World's Strongest Man, correct?
I think 2008 was, 2010, I think he won Worlds.
Yeah, but he was a competitor, though.
Yeah, his first appearance, I think, was 2007 or 2008. Okay,
so it's around the time he's about to break in. But at the time, being 14 years old, Brian Shaw is an absolute monster. For anyone who hasn't seen him, you see these guys, and there's another fact that just how you're going to be the lightest ever to qualify for the World Championships. We'll get into that in a second, but just when you meet these guys in real life, they're absolute, like, juggernauts, like titans walking the earth. Brian Shaw is 6'10", 400 and at points, 450 pounds range.
Yeah.
So being 14 years old, being around these guys, what's that like when this guy comes to visit and you're 14 years old?
Honestly, I didn't even know what to say to him.
You'd be intimidated.
Like I always tell a bunch of my friends one of the stories when I first met him. They were all doing stones. Yeah. Well, Brian always wears the New Age mouth guards. Yeah. So he's all packied up and stuff. Yeah. Well, he forgot to put his mouth guard in. Oh. He looks at me and didn't even say anything and like asked me to put his mouth guard in.
You're like, I don't know if I'll put my hand around his mouth. He's like a rabid dog. And you're like, ah. Yeah. Wowzers, man. And do you guys still keep in contact with like Brian Shaw?
I was just with him and I competed at the Arnold, Australia. Yeah. So he was there competing, and that was the first time in a couple of years that we got back together there again. But I mean, he's an easy guy, so it's not like we get to talk very often. But if I got questions about stuff, he's pretty open to answer anything you need.
And you were also saying that is it Nick Best that is you're saying almost like a mentor to you in terms of strongman or possibly beyond, or?
Yeah, when I started getting more, at the higher level, I would to compete at Nick's contest that him and his wife Callie put on, and I was maybe I don't even think I was old enough to drink when I was down in Vegas competing.
Yeah.
And Nick kind of took me in and just helped me out with anything I needed, and we've always kept in real good contact ever since that. So any contest that we're at together, he's always been there to help me.
Yeah, and I mean, especially a guy like Nick, in terms of, he's a legend in the sport. There's another guy who's seen it all. We had him on the show, and this guy's been doing it since, like, the 90s. When were you born?
92.
Oh, see, you've been doing it as long as you've been alive, basically, right? So this is a guy who's been around the block. If you ever needed a mentor. And how about yourself, Kim? When did you start lifting weights?
I started lifting in high school just for sports, but not competitive lifting. I didn't start actually until 2010 doing strongwoman and a little bit of powerlifting. And I was 20 then, or 21. So not until later. I wish I had started when I was younger, but I didn't have siblings or anybody who was into it like Adam did, unfortunately.
See, it's the same as me where I'm the same way. I'm like, shit, I wish I started sooner. But not everybody's like my dad, my siblings, none of them are super into lifting, so it is what it is. You find it when you find it. But obviously, all's well that ends well when you end up being the world's strongest woman. Right? So an interesting fact, you actually are also, is this true, an IFBB pro as well?
Yes.
And that
for women's physique.
And that totally flies in the face of bodybuilders aren't strong, when you're also the strongest woman in the world.
There you go. Yeah.
So do you try to, how do you balance, do you still do, like competing in terms of the IFBB, or how would you balance that out?
Actually, I started doing strongwoman. I did that for 4 years. I took a little bit of a break. At the time, there was no pro level for women. Took a little bit of a break, started doing bodybuilding, got my pro card, stuck with that for about 2 years. Then strongwoman really started to build up, and I decided about 2 years ago now to come back to strongwoman, and it's been going really well, so I'm just sticking with that now. But I don't really try to do both at the same time because it's completely different. As far as like the way that I eat. Training is not 100% different. There are a lot of bodybuilder things that Em and I both still do consistently with our training, strongman or whatever it may be. But as far as the diet and cardio go, 100% night and day difference of what I do now compared to that. So.
How much, so here's a good question, because everyone asks whenever it's like strongman type sports, what are your guys' calories like for a day? Do you know?
I don't even know, to be honest.
Throw out some crazy...
Minimum of 5,000.
Yeah, I would think so. See, I know you said you were one of the smaller in terms of strongmen. I know some of these guys, they just completely force feed themselves. Like Eddie Hall and those guys in those documentaries are talking about. One of the hardest parts of the job is just you're constantly eating. Are you guys like that where you can't get big enough and strong enough?
Yeah, I can't even eat enough. My metabolism is super fast. I'll drop 8 pounds in a night just from sleeping.
Yeah.
So I'm always forcing myself to eat. I don't have a big appetite either, so that makes it even harder.
Yeah.
I'm the opposite. I love to eat, and I can put on weight super easy.
That's good.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, I mean, it's a blessing and a curse at the same time, but yeah, for sure, depending on the sport you're in. But so, in terms of you guys are also saying, so this was 2017. You're the 2017 World's Strongest Woman, or because it just happened, right?
In December.
Right, and you have for the first time, AJ, you were going to the World Championships with the World's Strongest Man.
Yeah, this will be my first year.
And you were saying in the messages back and forth, you're going to be actually the lightest to qualify and make it to the World's Strongest Man?
For this year, yeah. Back in the day, like the early 90s and stuff like that.
Yeah.
A couple of guys go down and, lighter, but this year for sure I'll be the lightest one. I'm trying to put on more weight, but there'll probably be another guy, Rob Kearney. He's a little bit lighter. He'll be around the 280, 290 mark as well.
Mm-hmm. And that's how big you are. I was going to ask you, so how tall are you guys?
I'm 6 foot. Right now, I was sick a little bit ago, so I lost a little bit of weight. But I'm at like 275 right now, which is the heaviest that I've been up to 280 right before I was sick, but that was forcing it down.
Yeah. And how tall are you, Kim?
I'm 5'4". I'm kind of short. And I sit in like the low 180s when I'm eating whatever I want to eat.
Yeah.
But if I diet a little, follow a stricter plan, then more like mid-70s, mid-170s.
And do you feel like, is that probably where you want to rest? Because that still doesn't feel that heavy, though. Like, you guys both seem pretty small considering, right? Like, do people, when they meet you, expect, like, the world's strongest woman and you're going to the world's strongest man? Because some of those guys, especially in the world's strongest man, these guys are getting bigger and bigger every year. You look at guys like half Thor. That would be intimidating. I met him in real life one time, and it was like, it's literally like the mountain from Game of Thrones coming off the screen and introducing himself.
Yeah, I think there's like probably 5 guys that are about over 400.
Yeah, which is insane.
Yeah.
It's actually turning into almost like a WWE style now. These guys are so big. Early goings, they're always big, but if you look at like even like 10 years ago, when this was like back in the Hugo Girard type of era, the Hugo Girard, and I'm saying this because I'm Canadian and he's from Canada, but he's like 330, 340 pounds. These dudes nowadays are at least 100 pounds more. Is it difficult to keep up, or are there certain events where you feel like maybe being a smaller size actually works to your benefit? Yeah, like a lot of the moving events, as far as like the medleys with the kegs and the sandbags and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. That's where I can beat them. But then events like if we have like 1,100 pound yoke for 80 feet, that's where I suffer because my frame, it's hard for me to move that type of weight. I mean, that's 4 body weight. Yeah, it's like that's where I get screwed a little bit on that. Yeah, in terms of, you were mentioning you actually just come back from the Arnold Classic. Is it the Arnold Classic where Arnold wanted to actually specialize in just heavy lifts and not a lot of the movement and more of the athletic drills? Is it because in Strongman and World's Strongest Man has a little bit more of a variety?
Yeah, all the Arnolds, those are more static and really heavy contests versus, I mean, Worlds is still heavy, obviously. Yeah. But there's a lot more moving events and plane pulls and medleys with sandbags and kegs and keg toss and stuff like that. Yeah. So you have to be more of a well-rounded athlete at Worlds, I think, than versus an Arnold Classic.
And sometimes, like in terms of aesthetics, watching, I mean, we love the big deadlift. Eddie Hall kind of made that popular, but there's nothing like watching somebody pull a plane. Or pull, like, those kind of things. Like, that's pretty damn cool. Visually speaking, picture-wise, what are some of the biggest, like, the crazy events where you showed up? I mean, sometimes I read these interviews with some of the strongmen. They showed up and they see what they got to pull, like a plane or something, and they're like, oh my God. Because you can't prepare that at home in your garage, but you don't own a 747. What are some of the events between both of you that you showed up and you're like, my God, man, I don't know how this is going to turn out?
I definitely had some truck pulls. They were like big fire trucks. And I looked out, I'm like, am I going to be able to move this thing? I hope so.
Yeah. Or am I going to be the guy who gets stuck in the blocks? Yeah, exactly. Yeah. You don't know.
Or, I mean, I had one in Texas not too long ago, this past year, where we had the car deadlift, and it was, they had 2 cars on it instead of 1. Whoa. And it was pretty intimidating looking. I was like, I hope I can move this thing.
Yeah, it might be your 1 rep max as opposed to for reps. Or
right.
Yeah. How about yourself, Kim?
I don't know. I can't think of any really that threw me off too much. Most competitions, actually, I think every competition that I've done, I've gone into it knowing all of the events and training somewhat for them, regardless of what it was. So nothing that I've ever, knock on wood, nothing nothing that I've ever zeroed.
Yeah, it's
nothing yet, but it's getting heavier every year, so you never know.
And that's the thing, like, tell me if you guys have felt the same way. In terms of, like, strongman, there was a time when it was really big early on, and then there's a bit of a lull, and now with guys like guys are turning into almost household name celebrities like Hathor, Big Z, Eddie Hall. That you go on Netflix, and there's documentaries, and this is hitting the mainstream. I show up at work, and people who aren't even, strongman fans or powerlifting fans know who Eddie Hall is and talk about, did you see that documentary? Or, Game of Thrones, which is the biggest show probably on TV now, and you have one of the strongest men in the world, always podium finisher on that show. Feels like strongman now, everybody, even people who aren't, and strong women, even people who aren't really strongman fans know who's who. And the sport is just getting bigger and bigger. Have you guys felt that now? Now when you tell people that you're involved with this?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, on top of, the documentaries and Game of Thrones, I think a big thing that really helped, for sure the women's side of it, is CrossFit. CrossFit has, you look at the games now, they got tons of the strongman implements. Yeah. So I think that brought a big light to it as well.
Yeah. You know what? It's begrudgingly, it's true. I mean, CrossFit is such a huge sport, and whether or not we want it, powerlifters are stronger sometimes, the way we talk about CrossFit, we're just joking around, trolling, but the amount of people CrossFit actually brings in to all the different strength sports, and how many people we've come on here, world champion powerlifters, started in some CrossFit, got involved a little bit and thought, maybe I could shorten up my rep range and make a run of this. What do you think, Kim? Have you had a lot of people from the CrossFit start recognizing you as well, or do you think that helps in terms of bringing people into the strong women's sport?
Yeah, I think at least a lot of the state level competitions, obviously not national or world, but a lot of state level competitions have events and weights that women who are CrossFitters can cross over and be successful and do the strong women stuff. And with crossing over from strong women to CrossFit, it's more comparable at the state level weight wise, where they would be successful doing that. But I do feel that a lot of women now have converted from CrossFit to strong women, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. Strong women have grown a ton in the last 5 years.
It's crazy how some of these girls from CrossFit are absolutely jacked. Next level athletes, I mean, they have abs poking out, just their body fat percentage is 0, but the strength and the what they're moving and how athletic they are, it's crazy. In Iceland, how is it that Iceland, which is probably the same population of a small city, has gotten so many world's strongest man competitors and world's the women's CrossFit champion a couple times over from Iceland? What the hell is going on in Iceland? It's crazy what's going on over there. Their history of strength, it's wow, they're on some next level stuff over there. So in terms of with training, how do you guys approach strongman? Do you guys do mostly the power lifts and focus almost like a powerlifting program for strength? I know you do a lot of deadlifts, AJ. We love reposting your videos. And how often do you mix in your implements in terms of the event training specific?
The main concept of our training is more power building. So we'll hit a deadlift, a squat, overhead, and then maybe on the leg day after I squat, then I'll throw in maybe some speed yoke or a heavier yoke depending on where I'm at in my phase of my programming. And then we have a designated day on the weekend as well where we'll do 3-4 events, but majority of it during the week is more powerlifting, and then after the main movement, and then an accessory movement that is based on fixing weaknesses of that main movement. Then it's more bodybuilding, more volume builds.
And you guys both train together then?
Yeah.
How much easier is it to have your wife and you have your husband who are in the exact same plane training together? Or is there some moments where it's not as easy? If it's a bad day?
Well, we don't really train together. We go to the gym together, but I got a couple of my friends, we train together, and then Kim and a couple of the girls or some of the guys that lift, Because otherwise it'd be too much of a pain to take weights off and then put weights back on and stuff. But we're all there together as a big group. Because we have multiple platforms in our gym, so, you know, we can all deadlift together, and it's not like we're on one bar.
Is that true, Kim? Are you tired taking off weights for AJ all the time?
I mean, there have been times where we've trained, like, strongman together and used the same implements, but just putting the weights on, taking them off, putting them on, taking them off, like, it just kind of is a pain. So it's kind of nice that we have duplicates of implements, and then I train with a couple of the guys who are more similar in strength to myself, and then Adam trains with a couple of guys who are more similar in strength to him, so it just makes more sense that way. But like, we cheer for each other at the gym, we critique each other's form when we're doing our heavy sets, and accessory work, we'll do that together and like rotate through. But for the most part, I don't know, like, everybody's in the same area, so we train together, but not necessarily always on the same.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like, when me and my girlfriend go to the gym, it's because you're going together, it's a different vibe. And also, you guys are both employed full-time and co-owners of a gym, is that right?
Right, yep.
So how do you guys fit this? What would your guys' day look like? Because people wonder, honestly, what, like, the world's strongest woman, what's your day look like to be the world's strongest woman? And AJ, yourself, you're going to the World's Strongest Man competitions, which is like, when we watch that on TV, it's looking like you have titans walking around doing these incredible things. What does your guys' day look like in terms of, I work 8 hours, come home, eat, and then how long are you in the gym a day?
Normally 2.5 hours on a regular training day, and then strongman days could be 4 hours. It just it depends how many events we're doing, but during the week, give or take, we're normally there. I'd say 2.5 hours is a normal day.
Yeah. And then you guys work like normal 8-hour-a-day jobs?
Yeah.
Yeah, I manage and run a machine shop.
Okay.
So do that during the day, and then come home, let the dogs out, eat, and then go to the gym.
That's it, eh? How about yourself, Kim?
I teach.
Okay.
Right now, I'm subbing for a few different districts, but my degree is in physical education and health education.
Of course. Yeah, no kid. And what grades do you teach?
Well, with subbing, it's every grade, every subject. But when I was teaching full-time, I was a high school PE teacher. Junior high and high school would be my ideal.
How crazy would it be when the world's strongest woman, you're subbing today, the world's strongest woman, you'd be like, what the shit? Is this a hidden camera? Shit, that's the craziest sub to step in that you would ever hear, right? All the guys in class would be like, how much you squat? How much you deadlift? Give me some tips. You know what I mean, right? But, no kid. And, so do you guys also own a gym then? Or co-own, or have a piece of?
Yeah, so we're partners with another guy. He's at the gym all day, so that's his primary thing.
Mm-hmm.
So
you guys are pretty stretched.
Yeah, and then on top of that, we also have a full programming team online.
That's right. I was just going to ask you. So you also, people come to you for coaching, obviously. So do you guys have any days off or no?
No days.
It sounds like you.
We have rest days from the gym, but as far as work goes, no. I guess Saturday a little bit, but Sunday is our day that we do like programming all day for our clients for the upcoming week, because we program only week to week. Yeah. To make sure that it's everything is custom to them and how things are going, or the next week is dependent on how things are going from the previous week. So yeah, our Sundays are pretty packed with our online programming for training and nutrition, but that's okay. Yeah.
So AJ, you're 24. How old are you, Kim?
I'm 29.
So you guys are pretty young still. Do you think at some point you're going to have to be like, look at it, if we're going to have a family, whatever, we got to deload some of this. Is a crazy lifestyle, right? To try to like have a fam, or you guys, am I asking questions you guys haven't been there yet? Where you're going to, for the first time, have this discussion on camera.
I think we're going to stick with dogs.
My man. That's my plan.
The two of them they're right over here, like, just trying to get at us right now.
That's what me and my girlfriend are like. Let's be dog people. It's easier. It's easy. You just let them out, walk them every now and then, and they're good to go.
And they come to the gym with us too. So They like it.
That helps, man. Then they can actually be involved a little bit. That helps. So, is your brother still actively? How many brothers do you have, AJ?
I got one brother, and then the other 3 are his brother-in-laws. So.
Oh, okay.
But they're pretty much they all have kids now, so they're pretty much done with it all.
Are they? Because your brother, how many appearances did he make at World's Strongest Man?
I think Jason did 4.
Which is insane.
Yeah.
And is he big? How big is your brother?
Jason, he is at his biggest. He was 280 and 5'10".
Holy smokes!
His appearance, like that sounds small, but he was bodybuilder.
He was lean.
Him and Marius looked identical. Like Marius and him, they were both the leanest guys.
Yeah. Wow,
back then the weights weren't, they weren't the extreme that they have now. Back then it'd be a 300-pound log for reps. Now it's 360 for reps. So you could get away with being leaner, and not as big. That's why I believe that's why Marius only won the titles he won, is because it was not,
Yeah, and you know what? I was about to say that. You kind of swung the door open for that discussion too, though. I think we're on the same page where it's true that during Marius' time, it's almost like they wanted that style. Like Derek Poundstone was also another guy totally bodied up. Now, he won the Arnold Classic, which is a little more just heavy as opposed to the athletic. But these guys were bodied up, 6-packs, not 400, Eddie Hall, Brian Shaw types. And it's kind of like at the point, if you want a certain kind of strongman, you just have to make the events cater to that, and that's who's going to win. And that's one of the tough parts of a strongman, where if you have favorites, you could somewhat cater events to it, and then there you go. It's including calls and stuff. Have you seen that kind of stuff yourself? Or you don't got to go straight up on the record, but
no, I've seen a lot. I didn't get into the pro scene, till last year, and just the pro shows that I've seen, you can really tell that politics are they're a big thing. Just like any other sport. Yeah.
And the thing is, though, with strongman in particular, the event you choose can really drastically alter a contest. Whereas, right? In terms of the World's Strongest Man, do they change the events often?
Yeah, every year. They're probably the same. The finals are different. They'll pick different events. But again, who do they want?
That's it. Some guys were saying, actually, when you sign up, I don't know, maybe you'll find this out, they actually ask you what events are your better events, and you do a question like that. Is that true or no? Or not anymore?
I haven't seen anything like that.
Okay.
My opinion, I'm sure, I don't think they even need to ask. I'm sure they kind of know everybody's events. They know what you're good at. And at the end of the day, it's a TV show.
That's true.
So they're going to want the drama. They're going to set stuff up how they're going to want it. And it is what it is. We all know it. Going into it.
And you know what? You got the right attitude with it. And here's the thing why, for instance, powerlifting doesn't make it on TV, because it isn't like a TV show. And whereas strongman makes it on TV because it is kind of like a TV show in terms of like the WWE effect. These guys are larger than life. Some of them are colorful characters, and you want to focus on these colorful characters. Who are some of the, because you're probably meeting more and more of these guys, who are some of the guys that you met, you were like, holy shit, that's a big dude? Or he was, you were kind of starstruck, so to speak, when you met him?
I would say the biggest one that I was starstruck was when I went to the World Deadlift Championships and I got to meet Benny Magnuson.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Because, deadlift is one of my favorite events. And
I've noticed.
He's one of the best deadlifters in the world. So meeting him, that was pretty interesting. And
were you not the smallest man in the World Deadlift Championships?
I was the smallest to be invited ever.
So how intimidating is that?
I think I was 200. So 2 weeks before that, I had a contest in Indiana, which was a max log and max deadlift world championships here.
Yeah.
And I went in at 242 with clothes on.
Holy smokes!
And then when I flew over there, and I didn't even know I was going over there until 5 days before. they called me and asked me if I could make it work, and I'm like, doesn't matter, I'm gonna make it work.
yeah, I'll make it work. I'll figure it out. Yeah. Don't worry about it. Save my spot. So how did that spot open up? Do you know how it opened up?
Yeah, I kind of got lucky. So Brian Shaw was supposed to be going, and he didn't go because of his reasons. I don't need to get into that. But
this sounds like a story. Dude, Brian Shaw's shoes are big shoes to fill, my friend. Pun intended. Pun intended. But so you were actually the alternate for Brian Shaw.
Right. So Jerry Pritchett was supposed to went, and then it was supposed to be him and Shaw. Brian did not end up going. So then that's why 5 days before they called me and asked me if I would like to attend. So
and you're like,
I wasn't going to say no.
That was a quick yes. That was a hard yes. Book me. I'm in. So when you showed up, was this the year that Eddie Hall broke the world record for the first time right there and won it?
This was this past year when he pulled the 500 kilo.
Oh, it's just a past year. Okay. And when he pulled and that was the first 500 kilo deadlift, was it not?
Yep.
How tense was it when everyone was there knowing, man, we are just about, this is going to be history and I'm a part of this. I'm in the mix. I can tell it. I wasn't a fan. I didn't buy a ticket. Yeah, I'm in there.
Because that was the first show that I really, here in the U.S., like at strongman contests, you get, 100 people here, 200 there. And then, they bring me over there and they bring me into the arena and there's 10,000 people.
That's insane.
I'm just like, my God.
So that's insane for me to even think about, and we're talking about how quickly, is the sport way bigger over there in Europe? Is that what it is?
Oh God, yeah, absolutely. They don't have the sports they don't have football and they don't have all that there. So strongman over there, you're like a god over there. It's crazy. Like after the contest, they had to kick people out because the lines were too long for autographs. It was insane.
Holy shit! So it's hard for us to even fathom and understand this. Is that all of Europe or more Eastern Europe?
I think it's everywhere but the U.S. Like when I go to Canada to compete, same thing there. I went to Australia, same thing. The U.K. Everywhere but the U.S. It's super popular.
Then you come home and it's just another. And here's one thing about the U.S. is such a dominant force in every flipping sport. When it comes to the Olympics, every major sport, so it's just kind of like another. It makes you wonder if a guy like Brian Shaw, who's the world's strongest man, if he was from, you got guys like Hafthor, who's got his own vodka coming out and all these things, right? And he walks around. I'm sure everybody, all 200 people in Iceland know who he is, and he sticks out like a sore thumb. But did you have a chance to go with him, Kim, to much of the European contest? Is Strong Woman also in Europe often, or...?
I did go with him, but I wasn't competing there. The World Deadlift Championship competition was paired with, what was it at the time?
Europe's Strongest Man.
That's right, Europe's Strongest Man. But there was no females competing at that particular competition. And when we went to Australia, there happened to be an amateur show going on that had men and women in it. I didn't realize that was going to be going on at the time. Others, maybe I would have tried to compete there too. But we haven't done any international big competitions together yet. But it would be cool one day.
Do they pair World's Strongest Man and Women's Strongest Man at the same event sometimes, or no? Or it's usually separated?
The Open, so the Pro Open guys, the one that I'm going to, that's always on its own.
Okay.
This year they made like 105 kilo guys, World's Strongest Man, and like 80 kilo, and they made different classes for it.
No shit.
And this year they paired that all together.
Yeah. Whoa, so they're going to be with Hafthor and I guess Eddie Hall retired. Is Eddie Hall retired, or is he kind of coming back? He seems to be hitting some big-ass weights for a guy who's retired.
I don't know.
Exactly, yeah. Enough said, my friend.
I know he is for sure competing in the UK circuit, so he's going to do Britain's Strongest Man, Europe's Strongest Man, stuff like that. He said he will continue to do that.
Yeah.
As far as World's Strongest Man and the Arnolds, I'm pretty sure he's done.
And is it a coincidence that your first Worlds he decides to dip out? He's dunking you. He's dunking you. He's dunking you, man. I can't believe it. Yeah, no kid. Yeah. So, in terms of so you guys do travel together. Did you have a chance to go with him to the World Championships for the deadlift? Or are you going to this World Championships as well, Kim?
Yeah, I went with him to England for the World Deadlift Championships, and with him to Australia for the Arnold, and I'll be going to World Strongest with him too, wherever that may be. We still don't.
Do you think they're going to give you a little bit of promotion as the world's strongest woman showing up there? Just to help grow it and show a little love or what? Let them know you're coming ahead of time.
I don't know. I guess we'll find out, huh?
How was it received, for instance, like the difference between in like America and Europe and Australia being the world's strongest woman? Do you find like it's like there's far more support in certain regions?
I'm not really sure, to be honest. I really haven't been around the pro level in other countries. But I feel like here, it's not very recognized. A lot of people don't really even know what strongman, strongwoman is unless they're really into weightlifting. Mm-hmm. But it's not like a mainstream sport like football or baseball or basketball. Yeah. So when you tell somebody that you know, just the average person, that you're world strongest woman, they're like, what does that mean? Like, they don't understand, they don't get it. But if somebody is into, like, that type of sport, or just the strength sports in general, then, you know, it's very prestigious title.
Yeah.
So, I don't know, in other countries, it may be, like, more recognized than here. I'd have to ask Donna more about how it is over in the UK, but here, not so much, which is kind of...
The thing is, like, you have, in terms of, when you think of titles, okay? I think Eddie Hall was talking about this in one of the documentaries I watched on Netflix. Everyone wants to know who's the world's, like, fastest, strongest. I mean, these are major titles. This isn't like a, you know, everyone thinks about these things, so when you're the world's strongest woman, it should have some more impact. And I'm thinking, like, if the world's strongest man, I didn't know they were actually bringing the weight classes to actually be with, like, the Open as well. Do you think strongman...
They won't pair them together. They'll always keep it separate because ours is more, like I said, a TV show.
Yeah.
I'm sure maybe down the line that might be the vision, but as right now it's kind of their own thing. But at least they have it, so it's good.
Yeah, like do you think they're starting to move into the direction of maybe, look, if we start bringing everybody together, perhaps weight classes, start bringing in maybe women's, if not on the television front, but just trying to, or do you think they're trying to make it more of a sport? And, you know, it's tough when you're in the range of, we're a TV show, but at the same time, make it a sport with weight classes, men, women's, divisions. Yeah,
they always have had classes, just because it makes it more scalable for anybody to do. Because if you know, be like, yeah, I picked this car up, everybody thinks, well, I can't do that. Well, they have weight classes for everybody, masters classes, and
you know, and masters as well, even age groups. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So it's good for the sport.
Do you think they're going to start trying? So in terms of, I think with the masters as well, I wasn't even fully aware of the masters until we started talking to Nick Best. Jonas Avikas is turning into a master. Now some of these guys who have come through the era of the big TV push, now when they start, going 40 and beyond, this is a big name guy now, and Nick Best. These are big name individuals who are now masters. And I mean, I think previously there wasn't, you know, it was more just if you're not in the open weight class, in the open age group, in the males, you know, more people don't know who you are. That's one thing with social media that'll help as well.
Yeah, it's still kind of like that, you know, like if you're not an open pro, like, you know, a lot of people don't know about you. But like I said, it is getting bigger, and people are starting to get more noticed. You know, winning the, you know, like the 105 kilo guys. You know, a lot of them are getting more noticed now. So, and the women's, obviously.
Would you? Are you at all tempted to try to make a cut to the 105 and become the world's strongest man in the 105? Not at all.
Well, even my first strongman contest, I did probably 2 or 3 of them because I was legit. You know, 200 pounds.
Yeah.
My first one, I was 165, but once I got over 230 pounds, I always did open no matter what.
And why is that? Why is that?
Well, my goal was always to go to World's Strongest Man, and cutting to 105s or doing anything in the 105s isn't going to get me there. So I decided to go a different route than anybody really goes, and that obviously worked out.
Yeah, well, that's right. I guess the proof is in the pudding, right? Ordinarily, it seemed like a tough task ahead, but you made it that far. In the future, what are some of your guys' future goals then? You want to continue to be in the open and possibly, do you think you'll ever cut down, or what are some of your goals that you have in mind?
Well, first goal, I need to put weight on. The goal for that, I would like to be, I think with my height and my frame, if I can be 300 and fairly lean still, because I want to look the part, I just don't want to put a bunch of weight on, and I still want to look strong, and I like the bodybuilder look. So if I can walk around about 315, 16% body fat, that'll take me probably 2 years, I would say, to get to that. Once I get to that level, a lot of people talk to me about I want to shoot for a 1,000-pound deadlift. I'm not in any rush to do it because it is very risky when you start pulling them heavy weights, and I'm only 25, so I got a long ways to go. But that's definitely a goal. And then continuing to make it the World's Strongest Man every year.
Yeah. And how about yourself, Kim? Do you ever see yourself going back to IFBB or anything like that? Or are you thinking you're going to make this push for strong women?
I'm going to stick with strong women for a while. Eventually, down the line, maybe I'll do another bodybuilding show just to do it. But for now, strong women's going well, and I'm enjoying it. And there's been a lot of opportunities that come my way in the past 2 years. So definitely going to stick with that for as long as I can, and see, hopefully down the line getting more titles and
do like a dynasty, like Michael Jordan, back to back dynasty with the World's Strongest Woman. Who are some of the people that are chasing you down in the World's Strongest Woman?
This year I competed as a middleweight, and another girl from the U.S., Lipa, and I went pretty head-to-head on every event. So I would say her, Brittany Diamond took third place at World Strongest Women Middleweight Division. So Brittany, Kimmy Lawrence, she is out on injury right now, but she is definitely a fierce competitor. And eventually, I would like to stay around the weight I am now, but eventually I'd like to compete in the open division. So then, that my competitors would be like Kristen Rhodes and Donna Moore.
Donna Moore, I know Donna. Is Donna Moore the current champ? Or did she not? She is, yes. Okay. Because we reposted her, and she's...
2 years in a row.
Yeah, she's extremely strong. She's the one to beat for the Women's Strongest Man, correct?
Yep.
Yeah. Past 2 years.
And Diamond, did she not... Here's a little known fact. I actually was on America's Got Talent, and I'm Canadian. Long story short, so I was on Canada's Got Talent, and the producers from America's Got Talent actually had contacted me and said, you want to come on America's Got Talent? We know you're not American. We know you don't have a U.S. working visa, but almost like a ringer. So this is what they do. They bring in ringers for the show. And just because if they make a stop in New Jersey, and let's say on that particular day they dump $3 million with production, they got big name people on this, and if they don't find anybody, it's not a good show, like NBC is like, we just dumped $3 million, you can't not find somebody. You got to have at least a couple acts. So they stacked the deck and bring in some ringers like myself. You hit the stage, everybody they ask, what's your name, where you from? What's your name, where you from? I hit the stage, they're like, what's your name? Not where you're from. And that was it. So I was like, oh, six-pack Labadat. And I believe Diamond was on that same season, and I think she tried out. Did you hear about that?
No.
I don't know if she made, I think on stage she got the cut, or she made it. She got yeses, but not everybody actually makes the show. But I think she's on the exact same season as me. Little known fact anyways, now you know. There you go. Because her name rings a bell. Yeah, and she's actually American. So maybe she's like, this fucking Canadian took my spot. What the hell's going on with that? But, so in terms of your guys' training, real quick, one thing that interests me, who does your guys' programming? A, and then B, is it that you do, because you do mostly powerlifting style programming throughout the week, is it mostly just to bring up your nervous system strength, and then that's your biggest focus? And in terms of using the implements, as long as you know the skill-wise how to use the implements, it's not nearly as bad, or is that really why you focus on that? Because you won't get, how much stronger do you get using implements versus hit the weights, the classic powerlifting style programming for the nervous system?
As far as programming goes, I do all my own.
Okay.
I do reach out to some of my close friends that are at the same level I am at, and I'll send them some videos. Just, you know, good to get feedback, just to make sure that everything's in line. And you know, everything is strongman starts with, you know, a foundation, and the foundation is squat, bench, not so much deadlift. So that's kind of more of the overhead. And like you kind of hit the nail on the head with, you don't need to be strong with the implements, it's the technique.
Yeah.
So if you're just strong and your technique is on, you're gonna be fine.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I work, you know, the foundation needs to be strong. So the stronger your foundation, the stronger you're gonna be with the implements, if your technique is perfect.
Yeah. And it's probably a little easier to not get injured that way as well. Linear movements with weights is a lot easier than some of the other stuff. How about yourself? Is that the same with you, Kim?
Yeah, same with me. I do my own programming. Adam helps me with my programming. We train the same style. We do our compound, like powerlifting lifts during the week. So deadlift, we don't really bench here and there, maybe, but our focus is deadlift, overhead, some type of overhead press, squats, and then our event training day with doing strongman stuff. So same style overall. We've found that it's worked well for both of us, and it works well for our clients. So that's what we stuck with. And then as far as strongman stuff goes, just working on like the technical form type stuff. Adam's really good at peaking for that. So just making sure that everything is spot on with that, and then, I mean, strength crosses over once you have your form perfected.
That's right. As long as your nervous system's strong, it can carry over. Do you guys not? So you do. I didn't know you realized you do your own different programming. Do you guys ever look at each other's program and be like, be like, maybe you should? Do you give feedback, or how does that work? Because you're both like incredibly strong. You know, you're both at the top levels here in terms of the elite.
Yeah, I critique some of her stuff.
And how does that go? How does that go over? You making your own dinner that night or what?
No, I've never made my own dinner.
No, I mean, we critique each other, and normally in helpful ways. I mean, of course, certain things that we say to each other might spite the other person, but for the most part, we appreciate the constructive criticism from the other person, because we know that they're just trying to make, or like he's just trying to make me better, or I'm just trying to make him better. But I will say that some of my training styles, Adam has worked out with me, and he tells me that he can't keep up, and like that I do way too many whatever. So certain things we have our own ways of doing things, and other ways we do a lot of the things. So I don't know, it works out.
It is such an interesting, you know, scenario. It's hard for people to actually, like, this would be an amazing reality TV show. I don't know if you guys know that. For people to actually take a glimpse of how the strong couple, is there other strong couples out there like that? Do you guys know? This competitive, though, to the level where you're going to the world's strongest man and you are the world's strongest woman. Like,
I still have not found a couple that is at our level. Like,
you've been looking to challenge them.
Oh, I would challenge anybody.
That's right. It's out there right now.
There are some couples strongman competitions. Maybe like once or twice a year. I think it'd be fun to do,
But if you guys show up, is everyone else gonna be what the shit are you guys doing here? Is everyone gonna be upset? Like, what's the competitiveness of these people?
Honestly, I don't think there is any couples that are at our level.
Unless you got like somebody like freaking somebody who's, I don't know who's single, but it's like one of those sham relationships, like half the words, like, here's my fucking wife, and it's, that's not your wife, bro. What's going on here? What are you guys doing showing up here? But, yeah, you know what, it really would be amazing to catch a glimpse into you guys, especially, are you guys really the competitive type? You have to be, obviously. It sounds like a silly question, but are you competitive in everything you do?
Everything.
So
we even have, like, eating contests against each other.
What's that, sorry?
So we even have, like, eating contests against each other, like speed, quantity.
No shit! So, what's it like if you guys go to the cottage with you guys on the weekend? Like, if I'm like, I'm going to the cottage with the strongest couple in the world, are you guys like fucking drinking games are for real? And then we're going to pound back X amount of hot dogs and just some crazy...
It doesn't matter what we do.
Really? Board games? Whatever.
Everything.
Yeah.
I despise losing.
Yeah.
Wow! Well, I mean,
that's why I played football for a couple years when I was younger. And I do not like team sports. I can't.
Is that so? Do you both prefer the single sports because it's all on you?
Yeah, I do. Like I wrestled for 9 years.
Whoa!
Before I started powerlifting, and I played football for 2 of the years, like 7th and 8th grade, and I hated it. Like I would get in trouble because somebody would screw something up, and I would just go off and start yelling at them.
Yeah.
I can't handle that.
How about yourself, Kim? Is it the same way? Do you like team sports or?
I prefer individual sports, but I did play soccer growing up from when I was in elementary school until high school, and then I did swimming and track. So obviously those are more individualized sports besides athletes. But now with strongwoman or with bodybuilding or with powerlifting, I do like that I'm only reliant on myself and that however I perform, that's on me.
Mm-hmm.
And just the accountability that I can hold for myself rather than having to worry about the accountability of a team. But I mean, we still do work as a team, like with people who we train with or with each other. So even though you perform individually, I mean, it's still, you need a team to be able to make your training effective. And
that's it where, like, people say it's in a way it's individual, but it's a huge difference when you get to train with other people and have feedback from other people. It's like you go into battle alone, but you don't prep for battle alone. So it's kind of, and even when you're there, you have support around you helping you the whole way. You know what I mean? It's a lot easier, especially when you guys, like, being married and you know exactly what each other are going through. Like, what's it like going to the world's strongest man when you get off that plane and you're walking amongst these guys who are like absolute monsters? Honestly, I'd be, trying to get in your head here, but I would be intimidated. What is that like with you when you're walking in there and be like, God damn, that's the mountain from Game of Thrones. But I'm about to do battle with this guy. There's Zajun and Sabik, you got living legends you're going up against. Is it surreal, or is it like, how do you feel walking in there like that?
At first, the first time, I competed with all of them, I had to kind of change my mindset because I looked up to everybody.
Yeah.
When I was younger, because, like Big Z, when I was 14, he was the world's strongest man.
Yeah.
And competing with them all.
That's insane.
You can't change the mindset, and, you're going against them now. You can't be scared of it.
Yeah.
Don't let them intimidate you because they will try. They play mind games.
Do they really? Do they really?
Oh, yeah.
Who's the guy who played mind games like that?
Nobody really did it with me, but like at the World Deadlift Championships, like I could see like Eddie and Benny kind of playing mind games with each other a little bit.
Yeah. I see. It'd be easier, I guess, if you're the lightest guy. They might be like bullies if they're trying to mind game you. You're like, come on, man.
Yeah. And that was another thing is at the pro level, like everybody was super helpful and super nice.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was like, oh, I'm gonna be, you're in a room with a bunch of alpha males.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
They're everybody's testosterone levels are through the roof.
Dude, in terms of alpha males, my God, man. You could cut the testosterone in that room with a knife. This is all the time. It's crazy.
Right. No, but everybody was super helpful. Everybody was super nice. There's no drama. I mean, like I said, there was a little bit going back and forth with Eddie and Benny, but it was, nothing. It was all harmless and
yeah, it's a sport, and it's not. Yeah, exactly. You know, it's funny. I remember when Eddie when he first won the world's strongest in terms of the world championship for deadlift for strongman, and initially, it's hard to believe now because everyone knows who Eddie is. He's won the world's yada yada. But it was Benny who everyone was all. It was him who had the way bigger resume. And when Eddie won, initially I was kind of surprised and shocked. You know, walking in there, and now Eddie is just his star has risen.
You know, I don't know. I mean, there was a lot of stuff behind the scenes too. You know, at the World Deadlift Championships this year. You know, like. After Eddie pulled his 500 kilos, which obviously was amazing.
Yeah.
But there was, then he did a whole speech and stuff, after. Well, Benny and Jerry still had to go. So they both of them guys had to sit there for 30, 40 minutes before they got to go.
Clever cat, this Eddie. A 30 to 40 minute speech. What is this guy accepting a Nobel Peace Prize?
Right. And Jerry ended up tearing his hamstring.
Yeah.
So would he have pulled the 500 kilo? I don't know, but I bet he wouldn't have torn his hamstring at least.
Yeah. What a sly devil. You think that might have been a little bit of his plan? Or I'm surprised they would let him, unless they didn't realize how long he was going to be.
Yeah, I mean, who's going to say no?
Well, he's a tough guy to say no to, isn't he?
Yeah, I don't know. Like I said, there's a lot of politics with it, but...
Yeah. In terms of, so when you're going to the World Championships, can you sleep the night before, right before, I know just for, I seem almost silly thinking about now, I have a hard time sleeping before a powerlifting meet. We're talking like the IPF Worlds, which is still big, but you are going to this is, everybody around the world watches you on TV. And this is like the big names who are like, God, these guys have 1 million followers on Facebook. We, powerlifters, we feel big with 100,000, fucking half the world's 1 million.
Right.
What's it like sleeping those nights? And it's several days, and it's just mentally. How do you focus on that and get to sleep?
On the contests that I've done, I get a little nervous, but, take some supplements that'll help you sleep a little better. So you'll get through the night and get some good sleep. I'm interested to see how this first year at Worlds goes, because Worlds is stretched out through a week and a half of competing. So it's not like it's just one night where you got to worry about sleeping. It's several nights. But that's going to be a little different. And like I said, I got a bunch of people, Nick there, and a bunch of guys there that I've known for a while that'll be able to help me out with certain things that they've learned over the years. So.
Which is huge. I mean, you got a guy if you got a guy like Nick in your corner, that's like walking into, if you're a boxer, walking into a freaking Eddie Futch. I don't know if you know who that is, but he's like a famous. Yeah, he's a vet, and he knows these guys too. He knows all those guys and how the whole game is played, so it helps a lot. Something like that in your corner. Listen, before I let you guys go on, first off, thank you for your time, both on air and off. We got to send you a fucking package. Something we got to do, whatever. But how would you guys, one question we always like to ask everybody who's on here, how do each of you want to be remembered when all is said and done and you look back on your careers?
For me, a lot of people have stigmas with not saying it's like Thor or Brian or whatever, but a lot of people think oh, well, they're never going to talk to me or help me with this or like that. I want to be the kind of person that no matter who you are or reach out to me, I'm always going to give you the knowledge that I have to help you out. So somebody that's helpful in the sport, just like Nick and all them guys were to me, I want to return the favor in that.
And I mean, it's hard not to root for you. If you're the smallest man in there, everybody wants an underdog. To fight you.
And a lot of promoters have said the same thing.
It's true. I mean, you can't help. We're gonna bump the hell out of you going into the World's Strongest Man. I know you can't reveal what happens, but we'll push you as much as we can because you're you're by no means small, but you're the David versus Goliath situation. These guys are huge, so we'll definitely got you back. And how about yourself, Kim? How would you like to be remembered?
I like to be remembered as somebody who inspires others and someone who is a humble champion.
Enough said. I think you've check already, my friend. So, listen, guys, thanks a lot for coming on. It's a good interview. You guys got a wicked story, and I'd love to have you back, especially after Kim, you retain your title, start building that dynasty, and after you've hit the World Championships, I'm sure you're going to have a lot of stories based off that as well. So thanks for coming on, guys, and love to have you back.
Thanks again.